Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday morning. Today is April 1st. And hey, don't trust most of what you see on the internet today, all right? Because it's April 1st. You never know if it's going to be an April Fool's, but you can trust that we are live today you can trust us that we are live today for our fourth of in a series of 10 conversations that we're having in terms of the 10 lessons that we learned over the last 8,760 hours of COVID. I've really enjoyed these conversations Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm looking forward to today. Welcome. Come on in, please. When you come in, let me know in the comments that you're here. And I look forward to having this conversation with you. I think it's an important one today. And I look forward to having this with you. So we're going to get started in 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Hey, good morning, everybody. So good to see y'all. I'm over here listening to that bumper music and just moving a little bit. My mind was going back. We have this innovation conference each year, and we put together a hype video based on the theme. And I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. Our theme was whatever it takes, and we took the song from the Imagine Dragons, and it just really set the tone. We put it to video, set the tone for these 2 days. Really cool stuff we do there. And anyway, there's some rapping in that song of Whatever It Takes from Imagine Dragons, and I had it on my iPhone, and man, I was ready to get up there to start this conference, 200 people, and start rapping. As I looked at the lyrics, rapping with everybody, but Bethany, my partner, who I think is listening right now. Bethany, let me know if I should stop dancing even in the bumper, but she said, Dirk, you should not do any rapping. All right, so we didn't get to do that. But anyway, hey guys, welcome. Really good to see you. So hey, Ted, thanks again for coming. Still can't see you, don't know why, but man, thanks for being here. RJ, man, really good to see you, buddy. Thank you. Dutchman, how are you? Hope that leg is healing real well. Good to see you. Martin, thank you. Great to see you. Pam, there you are again. Love to see you. Thank you for being here. Guy, man, good morning. Yeah, I'm looking forward to today with you, buddy. Certainly. And how's Denver? Did you get up in the mountains? Are you working out there? I hope things are good. And here's Jennifer. Jennifer, thanks for coming back. Loved texting with you yesterday as well afterwards. And Angela, as always, good to see you as well, too. So, guys, keep coming in. Let me know that you're here. And as we go through this content, please, I want this to be a dialogue. I was thinking about this before we're going on. I really hope these 10 lessons become conversation starters for us, right? Rather than just a one-way dialogue. I hope even after we're done here that it all becomes a dialogue for us, because I think there are some important things. Okay, Bethany, thank you very much. Bethany says, I was just looking out for our attendees. Okay. So she doesn't trust that I can actually hold a rap tune. Are those tunes? I don't know. Okay. You did well, Bethany. Thank you. All right. So, guys, again, welcome. For those of you that are just joining us for the first time, let me set the stage of what we're doing in this 10-part series. It was on March 13th, 2020, that's when it dawned on me that the world was going to change overnight as a result of this thing that we were hearing about called COVID. And that's when we decided we needed to pivot our business. So Bethany and I, in a non-rapping way, came together and we said, what are we going to do for the industry? We said we had to do 4 things. We said we had to provide inspiration, insight, connectedness, and we had to give the industry and individuals a hug. We thought that's what we were going to need, all 4 of those, so let's try to give it. And that's what we tried to do throughout 2020 and the like. And then 2 weeks ago, on the 12th of March, Friday, that was when we hit the 1-year mark, 8,760 hours. So I was in a contemplative mood. I was traveling down to Miami and I pulled out my journal. And on that 3-hour flight, I journaled. What did I learn over those last 8,760 hours from being introspective of myself, my family, my business, my community, talking to our clients, the individuals, most importantly, the individuals throughout our clients' businesses. And as a result of that, 10 lessons came to the forefront. And that's what we're talking about over this 10-part series. Real quick, we started on Monday with the concept that time is precious. On Tuesday, we talked about how connections are undervalued. Yesterday, I think we had a real good conversation around this concept of health is everything. Today, I want to talk to you about this concept of you can be asleep while being awake. I hope it's not controversial. I hope it stimulates some thinking. Honestly, I think it's the one I'm most nervous about. So I really want your inputs and help me build upon this. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the concept that technology is an amazing enabler, but it can also be a destroyer. We'll come back on Monday after the weekend, and we'll talk about leadership mattering. Now, on Tuesday, the human spirit inside of us, we yearn to explore. Wednesday, we entered this age of acceleration. Beyond the age of disruption, we're entering the age of acceleration. 9, life is a healthy struggle. And then we'll end it on Friday of next week, a week from tomorrow, with it's time to take control of shifting to tomorrow. So with that, setting the stage, let's get into today's topic and let's get today started. Okay, welcome back. All right, so the 4th lesson from those 8,760 hours, the thought that I had was this, was that you can be asleep while awake. Right? Physically, we're awake, but are we truly awake? Are we truly conscious? Are we truly self-determinating? Is that the word? Are we in a state of self-determination? You can be asleep while awake. So for years, I've been talking to my business clients about this concept of good times can camouflage poor performance. So hold on to that for a second. Good times can camouflage poor performance. Think about that. When the market is good, when the economy is good, when the country is growing, when the market and the industry you're in is growing, when your customers are growing, right? Our business continues to grow, continues to do good things. And if we just look at those metrics, man, everything looks great. However, if you look underneath the surface, many times the fundamentals, the disciplines of the business have been dropped out. Why? We're so busy catching that wave. Good times can camouflage poor performance. So in sales, for example, in good times, we stop prospecting, we stop planning, we stop focusing on customer needs, we stop creating value, and we fall into just a servicing mode. I could go on and on and on. But the fact is, good times camouflage poor performance. And in a sense, that's an example to me of we can be asleep while awake, right? The business is moving forward. The metrics are saying good, but we're asleep relative to our real performance, the fundamentals that are going to be required when this wave starts to slow down. Does that make sense, you guys? Second, those of you that know me know that I graduated from Western Illinois University. I had to go twice, okay? The first time I went to Western Illinois University, I didn't do very well. In fact, after 18 months, after 3 semesters at Western Illinois University, the dean of the business school called me in and said, Dirk, I think we're going to try to make it without you. I flunked out of school. No, watch, I was there. I was in Macomb, Illinois. I was in the dorm. I got out of bed each and every day. But man, I was asleep. I had no purpose. I had no drive. I had no direction. I was asleep while I was awake. And when I think about COVID, when I think about some of the conversations that I even put up yesterday, right? That individuals were talking to me about, this is tiring. I come down, I sit in front of my computer for 13 hours, and then I go to sleep and I do the same thing all over again. We're awake, but we're asleep at the same time. Here's how I said it in my email that I sent out. I said, over the past 8,760 hours, on average, we've been awake and out of bed for 5,840 of those hours, right? 16-hour days awake, 8 hours of sleep. We placed our feet for those 5,840 hours that we're awake. We placed our feet on the floor. We brushed our teeth. We showered. We dressed. And we did what we needed to do for the next 16 hours. Then we went to bed until it was time to wake again. Where did the day go? We were awake, yet not sure where the day went. We were tired and we were drained and we were worn out, but we're not sure why we were tired, drained, and worn out. The day passed. Then the week passed. Then the month passed. And then 8,760 hours passed. We socially distanced as we were told. We wore our masks as we were told. We didn't eat out as we were told. We traveled as we were told. We didn't attend our children's events as we were told. And we did, and we didn't do these things again the next day as we were told. Or we didn't do them as we were told. My thought is that being awake is more than a physical state. Being awake is being conscious. Being awake is being aware. Being awake is being in control. Being awake is being in a state of growth. And being awake, I believe, is being in a state of self-determination. Does that make sense? I'd love your comments. I'd love your thinking. Yeah, I believe at times we, you, me, individually, collectively, over the last 8,760 hours, we were asleep while we were awake. I believe maybe, just maybe, we were lulled into being passive. Maybe, just maybe, we were lulled to sitting back and waiting and seeing. Maybe, just maybe, we were lulled into listening to do as I say. Maybe, just maybe, we were lulled into being told that we know best, not you. Maybe, just maybe, we were lulled into thinking that I'm being selfish if I'm thinking for myself, if I'm making decisions, if I'm trying to drive forward. I believe it's possible to be asleep while we're awake. And as I looked at it, as I thought about it, I identified it. My thinking, this is where my thinking is that there's 9 behaviors that might indicate that we are asleep while we're physically awake. Number one is fear versus optimism, right? I think when we are functioning in a state of fear, we have no option but to retreat. We have no option. I remember my father would talk to me at times about, Dirk, there's going to be days when you don't want to get out of bed and you're going to want to just cover yourself with the cover and hope that the world goes away, right? When we operate in that state of fear, we all those things I talked about, being in that state of self-determination, growth, being self-directed, we can't be those things. We're awake when we're optimistic. We're awake when we know that the future is going to be better than tomorrow. We're awake when we know that we have control of our destiny. We're awake when we know we have that optimism that tomorrow truly is going to be better than today. Yeah, Martin, I love what you say there, right? Oops, sorry, you can't really see that well. I apologize. Difference between a hunter and a farmer, proactive versus reactive. Absolutely, Martin. Thank you. So number two, the second behavior that I've been thinking about relative to we could be asleep while actually awake. The second one is, I think when we're consuming versus creating. When we're consuming, we tend to be asleep. I mean, just think about the number of hours of Netflix that has been consumed. Just think about the number of hours of social media that has been consumed. When we're consuming, man, we are asleep. Versus when we're creating, when we're listening to that internal soul, when we're listening to ourselves, what we want to do, our dreams, our hopes, our visions, and when we're creating tomorrow, when we're creating that better, when we are defining our next, creating that next, that's when we're alive. But if we're lulled into simply consuming, listening, passivity, I think we're asleep. Number three, I might get the numbers wrong. Scarcity versus abundance, right? I think we're asleep, and I've fallen into this trap, and I fight it at times. It was scarcity versus abundance. When we have a scarcity mindset, when we have a scarcity mindset that there's not enough resources, there aren't enough people. When we have a scarcity mindset that there's not enough vaccinations. When we have a scarcity mindset that we can't go and interact with anybody because we're going to get sick. When we have that scarcity mindset, we're lulled into being asleep versus abundance. When I look at this world and truly understand and believe that anything is possible, even during a pandemic, even during shutdowns and lockdowns, that's when I become myself. I am my best self. That's when we're fully awake. Next, what number am I on? I think 4, maybe. Tired versus energized, right? I've talked about this. I've talked to individuals, man, something about COVID, something about the way we were forced, we were led to live our lives. We were tired, we were worn out, we were burnt out. And man, we didn't walk more than 20 feet around our house. Homeschooling, to our work computers, to whatever, upstairs, downstairs, whatever it is we were doing. But man, we were worn out. And I believe that's when we're asleep, when we're energized, man, when we can find that energy and we can tap that energy to attack the day, not wait for the day, but to attack the day. I think that's when we're asleep. Next, when we're focused on the day-to-day, just getting by, just getting through the next 12 hours, just getting through the next 8 hours, just getting through the next homeschooling session, just getting through. And when we're focused on the day-to-day, man, saying asleep too much. I think that's when we're lulled into being asleep, when we're awake. Versus when we have our purpose, our goals, our dreams, when there's meaning in our life. And I'm thinking about the things we talked about this week about connections and the like. And maybe some of that meaning was taken away. And maybe we need to, focus, Dirk, on keeping that purpose and that meaning in front of you full time, so that you're fully attacking the day each and every day. Next, I call it coasting versus being challenged, right? When we're told to trust us, when we're told to lock down, when we're told that we are taking care of things, don't worry about it, right? When we're told that that you can sit back. When we coast, that's when we're lulled into that passivity, into that being asleep, versus when we attack that next challenge, versus when we know there's challenge and obstacles and hurdles. And yes, big ones with COVID. Yes, 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 yes. But when we see those challenges, when we take on that problem, when we become that problem solver, when we attack it, when we attack the challenge and know that it's our responsibility to come up with the solutions and not wait, I think that's when we're alive. When we're alone versus surrounded. Is this number 8 maybe? COVID, I think, drew a lot of loneliness. I think COVID forced a lot of people to feel alone, missing those connections, meeting those interactions. I don't know what the statistics are, but what I've read is that the number of people who are going to want to go back to work in some form or fashion rather than full-time remote work is pretty surprising, right? It's because they want to be surrounded by other individuals. They need the connection. They need that interaction. They need to feed off of that other energy. When we feel alone, I think that's when we can be asleep versus being awake. Is this making sense, you guys? Again, I'd love any thoughts, comments that you have. Next, I think maybe this is 8. When we're following versus thinking. The behavior of when we are simply following orders, following directions, rather than thinking for ourselves. Right? It's when we're thinking for ourselves, when we are self-reliant, when we take the responsibility. When I transfer the responsibility to somebody else, when I transfer the accountability to somebody else, I don't know about you, man, but I ain't feeling good. I know I'm not being my best self. But when I am thinking for myself, and that thinking leads to action, that's when I'm fully awake. And then I think the last one here is watching versus doing. I think when we're lulled into simply watching the events of the day, 24-hour news cycle, oh my God. When we're lulled into watching what the government is going to do for us, when we're lulled into watching what's happening to that ship in the Suez Canal that was just released, right? When we're lulled into watching rather than taking action, no matter what the circumstances are, I think that's when we're asleep versus awake. Again, I hope this stimulates some thinking for you all. I believe we can have the day go by, but were we really present? Were we really moving ourselves forward towards our full potential? Were we truly awake? When I talk about watching versus doing, I think about that speech by Teddy Roosevelt that I know that we've all seen. But when we're doing, no matter where we are, if we're in the midst of a pandemic, if we're in the midst of a market downturn, if we're in the midst of any type of challenge, when we're awake, we are absolutely in the arena. And you've read it, but let's just go through this together. Teddy Roosevelt said, it's not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again because there's no effort. There's no effort without error. There's no effort without shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. And guys, my premise there is that being awake is being in the arena. It's stepping into the arena every single day, knowing it's hard, knowing there's risks during a pandemic. Damn it. As human beings, it's our job, it's our role, it's our responsibility to ourselves, to our loved ones, to our businesses, to our communities, to step in the arena, to ensure that we are awake while we are awake. Ted, thank you, man. Ted says, very insightful thoughts, Dirk. Many people became asleep, waiting for direction from government. I agree. And Ted, I do agree with that 100%, man. That's what I said might be controversial here. I agree with that. I think it can happen in business too. I think it can happen in our organizations too. I think it can happen in our communities. I think it can happen in our families as well. World famous, Rick. You make me smile, buddy. As a child of the 60s, challenging authorities is a way of life. Fear is a control tool. Yeah, I would agree. So let's ensure, and hopefully this just stimulates us all to think about making sure that we are awake. So with each one of these 10 lessons, I've written a reflection for myself. And that reflection quite simply says, what do I need to do every moment that I am awake to not be asleep on the job of living? What do I need to do every moment, this moment, right here with you, live on LinkedIn? As soon as we're done in 2 or 3 minutes, that moment, what do I need to do every moment that I'm awake to not be asleep on the job of living? I know that's something that I am going to be keeping in front of me for a long, long time. Guy, thank you, man. You say, what drives me is a plan. How can I make a difference? Daily and weekly plans and tasks need to result in making a difference. Problem solving, helping others, and having quantifiable measurements can lead to achieving your goals. Absolutely, Guy. And I think when we do all of those things, right, that's an indication of us all being awake. Hey, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this. I really appreciate it. Any other thoughts, man? I'm going to continue to monitor for you. Dwight, man, you were one of the first ones that we talked about this, right? Good times, hide poor performance is real. Thanks for bringing it back to conscious awareness, Dirk. We do need to be awake. Dwight, man, I agree. And the work we did around that concept years and years ago too, Dwight, was absolutely great. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Tomorrow, I look forward to being with you again for our 5th. And that's when we're going to talk about technology can be an amazing enabler, but it can also be a destroyer. So we're going to be talking about that. Jennifer, thank you so very much. Be alive and not just living. I hope that helps. Jennifer, I know that thought helps me. Thomas, thank you very, very much, man. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you being here. And again, guys, I don't want this to just be one way to me. I hope they're up on LinkedIn. I hope it drives conversation because I want to expand my thinking on each one of these as well. Okay? So everybody go out there. Let's have an amazing day, an amazing Thursday. Let's rock this day. Let's be awake in every single thing we do, every moment of this day. And let's just go out there and have an amazing Thursday. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you.